Okay, so this is a video that I went back and forth trying to figure out if this is something I actually wanted to post, if this is something I wanted to comment on. I swore to myself I would never make videos and put them on my Facebook, that if I did anything, it would be through YouTube under an alias, because for most of my life, I've been ashamed of who and the way I am. Obviously, by now, everyone knows about the Orlando attack, and a lot of people have different views and opinions as to why that happened. A lot of it seems to point towards the LGBT community, and I don't think I've ever actually come out face to face to anybody. Maybe brushed on it here and there, or made a Facebook post that everyone knows, and anyone that knows and loves me knows. I'm out. I am lesbian, gay, whatever the hell you want to call me. This tragedy, let me say first and foremost, this video is not necessarily about me, but I do have an inside perspective as to, the LGBT community and the challenges that lie with being that. Unfortunately, it's, everyone has their own opinions as to what it is, why people are that way, choices, not choice, religion, heathen. For me, I just kind of wanted to put my story out there so people could kind of understand that this is not necessarily an easy lifestyle, and it's not by choice. Everyone always has that saying that you can't help who you fall in love with. Your heart has no guide, has no control. You love who you love, but it seems to stop there, and when someone loves someone of the same gender, we're either gay, fags, disgusting abominations. And my entire life, I have, for me, spent avoiding who I am and the way I am, and hating who I am and the way I am, and wanting to change it. And I spent my entire life knowing what my preferences were. I spent my entire life hiding what my preferences were until I hit adulthood and realized that I want to be happy, and if someone doesn't support me in that, forget them. I'm going to be me. I'm going to love who I love. I'm just, being gay does not make me a pedophile. That's someone that has sex with kids. That's, if someone doesn't understand that, a pedophile is someone that is attracted to children. Gay people are not attracted to children. That's not to say some aren't, but it's a completely different category. So this tragedy that struck, it really hit close to home for me, just because I don't know these people. I don't know their stories, but I understand, for a lot of us, a lot of people who are attracted to people of the same sex, there is an internal struggle that happens constantly, and you're trying to, because originally when you're brought up, you know what you're supposed to be, you know who you're supposed to love. Girls wear dresses, boys wear, tuxedos, and boys get married, they have kids, they have the American dream. So the American dream has been categorized into something where it's a man and a woman constantly. And if that's your belief, don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking anybody's belief, but I want to give my inside opinion as to the struggle that a lot of LGBT people go through. I never got comfortable with my own preferences until I was in my mid-20s. And that was after being married to a man, in many relationships with men, being assaulted by men, being degraded by men and women. So my circumstances have nothing to do with the way that I am. It's just the way I was born. And I am the poster child for someone that if it was a choice, I would not be this way. Because I can't take my date or the woman that I love in public and hold her hand without getting dirty looks. I can't wear the clothes that I like that make me feel comfortable, or get the haircut that I like without being told I look like a guy, or why are you dressing like a guy? And I'm not. I'm being me. I'm dressing the way I want to. I'm loving who I want to. It has nothing to do with any kind of political agenda. So this shooting, I know there's a lot of backstory behind the shooter. Really don't give a crap because he's a lowlife. But there's so much more of a struggle to being yourself when you go against the status quo than I think a lot of people realize. And I'm sure everybody's had their own struggle where they're not, what they're supposed to be. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. And I think so a lot of people can relate. And like I said, I went back and forth on deciding to make this video just because I don't get into political debates anymore online. Did not work out well for me last time. Foot and mouth disease hit me hard. I just said and did a lot of things without thinking, but I definitely thought this through. And I never wanted to be this way. And it's specifically because of the stigma and the stereotypes. And people look at you like you're a freak, an abomination. You shouldn't have been born. I mean, there's people praising what happened because they feel like people like me who love someone of the same gender should have never been born or should be killed because they don't understand the way we love. And that's hard. I think that's what hit me the hardest, and it may sound selfish, but I feel for the people that lost their lives because they were in a place, they were in a sanctuary where they could go, where they finally got to a point where they went somewhere and were surrounded by people that understood or that at least wouldn't judge. And they went, and they went there so that they could be themselves. And they lost their lives because they were themselves. They stopped worrying about what everyone else thinks. And I went to, last night, I went to a gay club, that was paying a vigil for the people that lost their lives. And for those of you who have not been to a gay club, this was the first time I went. Let me explain a little bit of what it looks like, because it was the most intense experience of my life. You had people dressed in drag, but they strutted around with big smiles on their faces. They could go and be themselves. They could say what they wanted to. They could be who they wanted to without anybody looking down on them. And being someone from that community, I understand how hard and how long it takes to get to that point, because I'm still not 100% there. I still struggle with, the way I was born. Sometimes I hate it because of the stigma, but it's me. And these people, they, on stage last night, they brought a girl on stage and announced that she had come out to her family for the first time. And she was rejected by her family. They did not support her. And she got a standing ovation from about 50 to 60, 70 people in the club who swarmed her and hugged her and told her that they were there for her and that this was her family and that she didn't have anything to worry about because she would never be alone. And in my mind, when you look at a support system, unconditional support, acceptance, 100% wholesome acceptance, and that's what she got from that community. And that community is scrutinized on an almost daily basis. And that's not to make short of any kind of discrimination. Discrimination is discrimination. It's bullshit all the way around. But to see strangers who had never met her before, didn't know her story, didn't know her wrongs, her flaws, go up to her and tell her how perfect she was, and to watch her cry on stage because she had a room full of people that were willing to love her as she was, when people who have loved her her entire life turn their backs on her. It was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And I feel like the world would gain and benefit so much from that mindset that, no, we don't all have the same views, and that's okay. You can have different views from me. Like, in my opinion, I understand there's that gay agenda. You can have a different opinion. You don't have to accept me. But there has been so many instances of discrimination and just having to... My son was with me in a store when I got called a faggot. I've been called that word multiple times in this city. It's a pretty conservative city. Just because of who I love. And I can't understand that. I won't understand that. And Again, this is not a video, oh, poor Clarissa, oh, all about Clarissa. It's insider's perspective. If I could choose the way I loved, well, let me rephrase. In the past, I would have chosen to be straight. Because it's easier. You can get married, you can have kids, you won't have people giving you dirty looks or, you know, making derogatory remarks to you when you just go shopping. But now I'm understanding that I'm part of a community that's not just a bunch of people with the same interests. We're a family. We understand that we're different and we accept that difference. And that's what's so hard to understand about this tragedy, is that there was a difference of opinion. Or maybe someone of the same opinion that rejected it, but was brought up to believe that it was so wrong that he lost himself in a rage. I really don't care. I'm not going to try and understand anybody that kills another person for anything. But you have to think about what you say before you say it. You don't know someone's backstory. And you don't know how someone struggled to get to a point where they can accept and love themselves, let alone be tolerant of themselves. It goes beyond that. You're supposed to love yourself, but when you're told most of your life that you're an abomination or what you're feeling is wrong, but you can't shake those feelings, it really messes with you. And I know this is really long, and if you've stuck in this long, props to you. I don't usually make these videos. I probably won't ever make these videos again, but I feel like it had to be said because I understand how hard it can be to get to a point where you understand the way you are, accept the way you are, and you go with it. And that's what a lot of these people did. And they went somewhere they felt safe and non-judged. And tragedy struck. And tragedy can strike anywhere. I understand that. But this is a situation where I have no words. I have no words at all. For those of you who have stuck by me, the way I am, who I am, loved me all the same, not judged me, I cannot express my gratitude for that. Because you don't find that everywhere. And it takes a lot of courage to finally come to terms with something that society says is not okay. Even though there's no ill intent, there's no ill will. You're just trying to be you, live life, and pursue your own happiness. That is the American dream, is the pursuit of happiness. It doesn't have to do a man and a woman. It could be a man and a man, a woman and a woman. It's... Again, I have no words, but if anyone ever has any questions or anyone feels like, there's something they want to talk about or have, I'm here. I'm transparent at this point. I don't care anymore. I am who I am. You love me or you don't. And how you treat me is a reflection on your character. I have a short haircut. I wear boyish clothes. Doesn't mean I'm not a woman. And it definitely doesn't mean I'm not a person. So, that being said, my heart, my prayers, my thoughts go out to all the victims of this tragedy and any other tragedy where innocents were lost. And that's about all I have. Thanks, guys. I love you. Good night.